Hello everyone, and welcome to... I didn't think about a name for this one. Uh, I guess the debrief? Debriefing? That... Um, so, a while back, I decided that I wanted to play through Game Informer's top 300 games of all time. So that's what I started doing, starting from number 300, working my way up, and I just finished game number 300, which was Yakuza 0. Now, if you know anything about the Yakuza series, you know full well that it took me a long time to get to the point that I could make this video. It is not a short game. I guess this is essentially just me sharing my thoughts about my experience with the game. So, first of all, let me say that I realize the irony of this, being that it's essentially a mafia game, but once you're in, you're in. It kind of forces you to get invested if you put in the time to finish the game. It's also kind of a mood swing simulator. That story had so many like ridiculous, just I'm crying one second, laughing the next, ready to punch somebody another moment later, which there was plenty of punching people, so that part was covered. But yeah, undeniably fantastic experience. I really enjoyed it. So if you're not familiar with the Yakuza series, essentially imagine Grand Theft Auto set in Japan, with a whole lot more fist fights than gunfights. A lot of fist fights. It's kind of a beat 'em up, open world beat 'em up, I guess. But yeah, definitely great gameplay. Felt fantastic. The story was amazing. What I think is really cool about Yakuza 0 is that it feels a little bit like Japan saw what Western audiences had with things like Grand Theft Auto and Saints Row and such, and said, how do we make something like this that will appeal to our players? Because Japan is Japanese culture is very much about practicing and perfection. They want to be as good at whatever they're doing as they possibly can be, which then leads to a lot of, they play a lot of rhythm games, for one. That's definitely a practice kind of game. But also a lot of linear experiences, so that they have the same experience every time they go in, and therefore can practice it and try to perfect their performance on it. So an open world, do whatever you want kind of game doesn't really suit that kind of sensibility. So then what I mean by Yakuza trying to change that is that it literally feels like every 3 steps or so there's another side story, and it's not just a mark on the map like, ooh, here's this thing, go check this out, because that would be plenty for us here on this side of the world. No, instead it's literally take 3 steps. Hey, you gotta help me, this happened and this happened, and I need help, please. And then you go another 3 steps, and oh no, my game got stolen. Yes. But almost all of those side stories are equal parts heartwarming and hilarious, and whatever it might be, just as much as the main story. So while it didn't take much to get me pulled into those side stories, I enjoyed every single one. A couple notable favorites, and the side stories aren't any spoilers, so I'm not going to spoil too much of the main story, but my all-time favorite side story. Okay, going across this bridge, there's the statue, right? It's not a statue. It's a performance artist who is doing the living statue thing for his performance. So the quest that I had to do for him was I had to distract his crowd so that he could use the bathroom. That was awesome. Hilarious. That's just one example. There was one that a kid got a video game stolen, and the game takes place in the 80s, so this is like basically a Final Fantasy or a Dragon Quest kind of game that he was picking up. So his game got stolen, and then that got stolen by somebody else, and then that got stolen by somebody else who turned out to be the father of the kid who bought it in the first place. So... and so that one then ended by essentially telling the kid a lie that the dad got his game back for him, when really the dad was stealing the game from somebody to try and give it to his kid, not knowing that it was his kid's game to begin with. So this just a drop in the barrel as far as the side stories go. Main story wise, I mean, it's essentially a Japanese version of a gang mafia story. So Kiryu, the main character, is framed for murder, and seeking to clear his name and the name of his captain in the Yakuza family. He essentially quits the mafia, joins a real estate company, and the whole plot revolves around this tiny, tiny, empty lot that is essentially the only barrier to controlling the district as far as owning all the property. It's a little bit hard to explain. It does make sense by the end of it, but the short version is, in order to kind of run the district, they need to own all of the properties, and this one tiny empty lot is the only barrier. So it's all about finding that owner and getting access to that empty lot, and that makes it sound a lot simpler than it actually is. It's a very involved story, but well worth it. So, short version, because I think I've talked about it enough. I thoroughly enjoyed the game. I am definitely in on the Yakuza series. I would love to try more of them. I don't know if I could play through all 7 of the rest at this point. They are very long and very committed games, but I did briefly try Judgment. It was a spin-off that came out this year, and it's not really tied to the other stories. So if you haven't played a Yakuza game, either try Yakuza 0 and start there, because it's fantastic and an excellent entry point to the series, or just go right to Judgment, because it doesn't really tie in, and you get some modern game design mixed in with the same elements that make the Yakuza series fantastic, including ridiculous scenes like a car chase where there's only one person, you, in the car with a handgun, fending off multiple cars of automatic machine guns, and eventually a helicopter with a rocket launcher that you take out with a handgun. Awesome. So yeah, I would say number 300 was a raving success. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I will be making another video soon regarding game 299, which I've already played. But we'll talk about that too. Yeah, I think I'm gonna stick with debriefing for most of these top 300 games. Some of them I'll record. It just kind of depends what it is, because they're not all very well suited for recording sessions. But one of them is Alien Isolation, which is one of the games that I am recording now, so if you want to see me scream like a little girl multiple times, because I'm certain that that's what's going to happen, make sure that you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, and that'll tell you when those videos are up. Until then, if you like this video, do me a favor, hit that like button, and leave a comment. If you've tried Yakuza 0, or if I've convinced you to give it a shot and you want to share your thoughts on it, I'd love to hear it. I actually lent it to somebody at work, and I'm hoping that I'll hear back soon and be like, yeah, this game's awesome. I want the rest. I'm pre-ordering Yakuza 3 through 5, because that's coming out for PS4 now. Alright, but until then, thank you for watching me babble about a game, and I will see you next time. Thank you for watching.